Now I want to take you to a different company, one that has been around longer, so they'll have more things that they've filed in the last number of years. This is a company, Precision Cast Parts, in Portland, that I used to do some work for through our law firm. I'm going to continue to exclude ownership forms. And you can see here that they have a lot more filings, and you can keep going and keep going to additional filings all the way back to 1996. I just want to show you some of the key filings. Now the 8K is a filing that you're going to see on a regular basis. There are lots of these. And there are a lot more now because the Sarbanes-Oxley Act requires companies to do more continual disclosure. So anytime there's a press release or something important happens, the company's got to file it. So it's a pretty short form. This is the whole thing. And notice in this one, it just says that they're announcing that they finalized an acquisition of this other company, Special Metals Corporation. The next 8K is even shorter, and these you'll see every single quarter. It says we're announcing our quarter financial results and our year-end financial results. Every time they do that, they've got to file an 8K. So the 8Ks can be helpful in finding out what are some things that are happening at this company since they filed their most recent 10K or 10Q. Now, this company has actually recently, you can see, filed its 10K just this week. The 10K, of course, is the annual report that goes to shareholders with audited financial statements. And the 10K has a lot of the information that the registration statement has. It's kind of an update of all that information so that shareholders continue to have the information that they need. So again, we see similar headings. Item 1, business, tells all about what their business is, what do they do. Risk factors, that looks familiar. Legal proceedings, so all the kinds of things we saw in the registration statement. Then part 2, financial information. Again, MD&A, all those same kinds of sections. We'll see again. Now notice here when we get to this item that is supposed to explain who the directors and officers are, it just says, please see our proxy statement for 2006. They've already provided that information recently, and it's in their proxy statement that went out to shareholders for their annual shareholder meeting. Also notice this long list of exhibits, and that most of them say incorporated herein by reference to, and note this one says Form 10K filed June 11th, 2002. So in other words, this document hasn't changed since then. You can find it in a prior filing. Now let's take a look at that proxy statement that they referred to. The proxy statement is Form DEF 14A. That means definitive. DEF is for definitive. 14A is the proxy statement. And the proxy statement includes the information that goes to the shareholders, the letter talking about the shareholder meeting, and these are the typical 3 things that show up on all shareholder meetings: electing directors, ratifying the independent accountants, and anything else that gets raised. So in the proxy statement, you're going to find quite a bit of information about the directors because they're up for election, so they give biographies and detailed information about them, and information about the board and how it works and how it's governed. Information about the audit committee, compensation of the executive officers. That usually shows up in the proxy statement. Now notice with this company, they've been around a little longer and their CEO is up into the $1 million salary range. It's always interesting to take a look and see what their salary is compared with their bonus. Not uncommon at all for bonuses to be much higher than salaries. It's also interesting to note whether there are officers that make more money than the CEO. Usually, if there is, it's a VP of sales. So more information about those people and how much stock they own And then finally, just the proxy card asking people to vote. And finally, we'll take a quick look at the 10Q. Of course, 10Q stands for the quarterly report. And the 10Q really doesn't contain a whole lot of information other than the quarterly financials. So if we just take a quick run through, you can see that this is really just provided by the accounting firm. All the financial information. Not much else is included. Oh, let me just go back to one thing. Notice right here some of the exhibits. These exhibits are very common now on quarterly and annual reports. Certification of the Chief Executive Officer pursuant to Section 302 of Sarbanes-Oxley Act. This is the form that they have to file that says, I've looked at this filing and it's true, and if it's not, it's my fault. Put me in jail or fine me. So there it is. And notice you'll see a number of forms that maybe you don't recognize. So if you see something that you're not sure what it is, investigate it or go back out to the list and find out exactly what that form is. I had a student tell me last semester that he was at his internship and somebody asked him to please go look up some information about a company under EDGAR. He said, I don't know what EDGAR is. And they said, what are they teaching you at that school? So hopefully once you've had this class, you'll at least have some idea about what EDGAR is and how to find something. The one thing I haven't showed you that I want to is actually brand new under EDGAR. This actually allows you to do a full search, just like if you were going to use Google or some other search engine, to find specific information in the filings. So I can search for specific text. If I knew that I wanted to find out about a specific risk factor, for example, and maybe I wanted to find out about a risk factor that a whole lot of companies might have, or one specific company, this search allows me to do that. Let me just give you a quick example of one. We're just going to do a general search for President Clark. And we'll just find out where he shows up in different filings. Here's the first one. He shows up as a director in the in a filing for Janice Aspen series as a director who's up for election. So, and then there are other hits, and you'll find that some hits are right on, some aren't, because it kind of it seems like it focuses a little bit on general concepts, not always specific terms. But this is going to be a pretty useful option. If you wanted to find certain types of articles of incorporation or certain types of contracts, you could come here and do a search. So this is pretty handy. So that's the little lesson on EDGAR. The best way to learn about it is to get on there and poke around and see what you can find about a company. EDGAR is the original source for all this information. You can get a lot of the information from EDGAR places like Yahoo Finance, but you should know that Yahoo Finance gets the information. If you come to Yahoo Finance and look up who are the officers and directors, how much money do they make, that's because somebody at Yahoo Finance has done the homework to go to EDGAR, find that information, and then make it more usable to you.